Hello riders, welcome to Cycle Training with Trinity. My name's Trinity and today we have a 60-minute sweet spot interval workout. So go ahead, get settled on your bike and let's get started. All right, as you're getting settled into the bike, go ahead and just find an easy gear for the next 5 minutes. We'll be warming up. I always like to assume that you have not yet warmed up on the bike, so I always like to build in time for that before we get started. But as we're hanging out here, once you found your easy gear, just free spinning for a little bit, I can walk us through our workout for today. So the next hour, we'll have 3 sets of sweet spot intervals. I've written up our workout here on the board as well, but each of those 3 sets will be 10 minutes long, and we'll have a 5-minute recovery in between each one of those efforts. And really the purpose for today's workout, spending time in these sweet spots, is to kind of ride that tipping point between your zone 4, your threshold zone, and that zone 3 tempo. Spending a lot of time in zone 4 can get pretty taxing and it'll really ride into your lactate threshold, so the next day you might find yourself feeling pretty sore. And zone 3 is just simply less work, typically. So finding that nice right in between, that sweet spot, as they call it, is great for building that power and endurance without being super fatiguing throughout the workout. But so once we're done with our first 5 minutes here, we're gonna get into a 10-minute ramp up period. We're gonna play with a few different speeds, a few different RPMs, and maybe even do some high cadence intervals just to get our legs moving. And then when we get into our sweet spots, we'll be there for 10 minutes at a time, and we'll play around with speeds there as well, closer to the 90 to 95 range, and a little bit of your choice as we go along. For those of us who are using FTP, sweet spot kind of sits right in that 88 to 94% of your FTP. Again, it's not your FTP or not at that 100%, but you're really not that far below it. So it should feel like work the entire time that we're there. And then rate of perceived effort that goes along with that usually will feel like a 4 close to a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 is kind of right in that middle zone. You still have more to give, but you're definitely feeling the work. And again, our cadence will vary just a little bit. We'll be in that 85 to 95 RPM range throughout today. But for now, we're just hanging out easy here. Anywhere from 0 to 59% of your FTP, it should feel pretty easy. We could be here all day, and we'll be here again in the cool down. This should feel like a 1 or a 2 out of 10 as far as effort goes. And hanging on to a nice easy cadence here. I usually aim for 70 to 80 RPM for efforts like this, just to make sure our heart and our legs are working, but not trying too hard just yet. Right after this, we have about a minute left here and just this nice easy warm up. We're gonna get into our ramp up period. And so once we get there, we're gonna start out at 85 RPM, so inching just a little bit faster to get us close to that sweet spot zone. And then we'll work on adding gears just a little bit as well to start pushing that effort slightly higher, start pushing our FTP just a bit higher as well. Each round that we go through, each sweet spot interval, we'll have a different focus, and I'll talk you through that as we go along. But we'll be working on things like focusing on our form, kind of the mental battle that comes in at the 75% mark of this workout. and just helping us get stronger riders. All right, 15 seconds left here. We're gonna be prepared to add just a little bit of speed in a second, getting ourselves closer to that 85 RPM. So let's go ahead and do that first. If you've been hanging out in an easy gear, that's totally fine. Go ahead and change your speed as the first step. And then once you're there, feel free to add a gear or two, but try to keep that speed up as we go along. What this is doing is engaging our legs relatively slowly. We're getting a nice ease into these efforts here. And for these first 2 to 3 minutes or so, we're just gonna hold this, give our breathing, our lungs, and our heart an opportunity to catch up with what we're doing today, and also letting our legs do some of this work as well. As we go along at any time, if you feel like you want to grab a drink of water, you can do that whenever you feel the need. Please drink water throughout today's session. I will say recovery is a great time to do this. And as we ramp up in the early stage as well, this can be a great time to grab water early on, which I'm about to do. Even after these 10 minutes here, as we get into our first sweet spot interval, we'll definitely take some time in that first set to really settle into the effort and get more comfortable. But these 10 minutes are equally as important for getting our body warmed up, starting to put some of that heavier effort in through our legs to make sure that we're ready to execute on the bike when the time comes. We're almost 2 minutes into this little ramp up period here. Kind of in this next minute, if you're feeling pretty good so far, go ahead and test out adding an extra gear. You may see that change the power that you're putting into the bike, which is a great thing. And if you're not ready yet, take that gear off, take your time. It's all about warming up here. Once we get into the last 4 minutes or so, I'll have us do 3 sets of some higher cadence intervals. All that'll mean is that we'll add speed, and to compensate for that, I'm gonna take off a little bit of resistance to make sure our legs can match that speed, but really giving ourselves an opportunity to wake up the heart, the lungs, and get fully ready for that sweet spot. Because once we're done here, we're going straight to that first interval. And so I want us to be able to execute that well without guessing too much or feeling like we're not ready for it. But at this point, if you added that extra gear, you may feel some of this effort start to set in, which is great. You may even start to sweat at this point, which is also totally fine. And just stick it here. Since we have the time and we're not yet focusing on our actual effort, I'd love for you to start thinking about your form on the bike. I love working both top down and bottom up. Today we'll start with our feet. And if you do have some of this heavier pressure on your legs, you can really feel the pedals supporting you underneath your feet. So as you push down through the pedals, think about your feet going towards the floor. And once they've reached the very bottom of that pedal stroke, have them follow that circle around and scoop out of the bottom of your pedal stroke. That'll help you maximize your efficiency on the bike, maximize the power that you're getting at any given time, and then make sure that your legs are actually doing the full amount of work. If you're pulling up too early out of your pedal stroke, you're missing out on a decent amount of power that full circle could get you. And then on the other side of your pedal stroke, as your legs come up on the back side of your spin, think about your knees starting to pull towards your chest. kind of like high knees if you ever did that in grade school or in soccer. Getting some of that elevation so it's not just your quads pushing into the ground, but your hamstrings and your glutes that are pulling up as well. And I'll say probably 90 to 95% of the work we'll ever do on the bike is kept to those muscles down here, waist and below. Once we meet our waist, our hip bones are nice and square over the saddle. They're not moving side to side. And once you have good square hip bones, your core should follow. So nice tightened core, keeping that engaged. If you ever want to do a slight test, take your hands off the bike. You may be able to support yourself without your hands. And if your spine and your hips are in a straight line, your shoulders will follow as well. Keeping those shoulders nice and relaxed and away from your ears. Excellent. We're just 15 seconds out now from our first higher cadence interval. So if you like, go ahead and take off the extra gear we've been working with. And just a few seconds, we'll add a bit of speed here. So go ahead, pick up your legs. See if you can add maybe 10 to 15 RPM for the next 30 seconds. Hitting 95, 100 RPM, and just holding it here. Nice job. Your body's moving faster here, gathering some energy, and we'll take it back down. Take off the speed. Feel free to leave that gear off for these next few seconds. We'll be back here 2 more times just to complete our warm-up. But you'll feel as we go through these 30-second intervals, your body's starting to pick up some heat, starting to get fully warmed up. And we're gonna hit it again in 5. So getting ready just to add some speed. Let's do it. Put on just a bit. If you have a cadence tracker, see if you can hit 95, 100 RPM. Nice, hold this just for another 10 seconds. Feeling that energy rise up in your body. Getting ready to work. And we'll go ahead, take that speed down. Back to the 80 to 90 range for the next few seconds, and we'll do 1 more of those. I'll reserve the last minute for us just to reset and get ready for that first sweet spot interval. So just 1 more effort in our warm-up before we get there. All right, 5 seconds. Let's do it. Pick up that pace 1 more time. Nice. And whenever you pick up speed, this can be super gradual. You don't have to go from 85 to 95 in 2 seconds. Just feel the difference that it makes, putting some of that extra effort and speed in through your legs, getting used to that feeling. And we're here for another 5 seconds, that's it. Nice job, take it down. Back to 80, 85 RPM for the next 90 seconds. And with that, we're gonna prepare for our first sweet spot interval. So for the first 3 minutes or so, we're gonna spend it at 90 RPM, 90. And then we'll add speed after those first 3 minutes. But starting at 90 RPM, again, that sweet spot shouldn't feel difficult just yet. It should feel like work, but it shouldn't feel difficult just yet. Really at your sweet spot interval, you should be able to bike just over an hour there if you held that speed the entire time. So check in with your body, see how that feels. And this first round is really just gonna be settling into the effort, figuring out what the sweet spot feels like, or honing it in. Depending on what bike you're on and what tools you have, you'll be able to see differently what that sweet spot interval is for you. So whether it's feeling it out and even finding, okay, what is my sweet spot? Or saying, okay, here's my sweet spot. Here's how to control my body, my breathing through those efforts. We'll all get there. So we're 5 seconds out. Let's go ahead, find that 90 RPM and add some gears. So hitting that cadence first, that's usually our guiding light and our equalizer through these workouts, because whether you're using FTP, RPE, or whatever else, other tools that you have on your bike, cadence will be a great constant for us. 90 RPM looks the same on everyone and every bike. So that's the number to hit first. Keep it at 90 RPM. And then look for, it's either just below zone 4 or that kind of feeling of 4, almost 5 out of 10 on the bike. So like I said, really, first entire set here is about finding that effort. We will be switching things up every few minutes at different paces. And so as we add speed, we'll need to compensate for our resistance on the bike. And so always keeping our minds working during these intervals. But obviously our body's not completely used to this feeling just yet. So spending some time here figuring it out. And once you have your gear locked in to what you think or know is your sweet spot interval, your only job after that is keeping that cadence. That is the one thing that can veer left or right, can either go higher or lower if you're not paying close attention. So that's going to be the main thing I encourage you to take a look at as we go along. Almost 2 minutes in here. Time goes by fast. And at this point you may feel your heart rate, your general body temperature picking up, which is great because we are in a true working zone now. Now we're spending an extended period of time here. We'll keep it here for just under a minute. Then we'll change things up with our speed just a little bit. If you forgot about it at any point, or even if you have been working on it, let's think back to the form that we were working on in our warm-up. As our body's working, as we're pushing a little bit harder through our legs, trying to keep that cadence up, make sure our shoulders are relaxed and away from our ears, our spine still in a straight line, not hunched over the bike too much, keeping a gentle bend in our elbows to cushion and center us over the bike. And let's go ahead. Add 5 RPM. If you can, if you're off by a few degrees, that's totally fine. But you'll feel it as you add that speed, some extra effort come into your body. But we don't want to add too much power overall. So to compensate, take off a gear. Whatever kind of bike you're riding, see if you can get back to that same effort, or if you have wattage on your bike, get back to the same wattage by taking off a gear, a few gears, whatever that looks like for you, because we're holding the sweet spot. We're not going anywhere with our overall effort. All we did was swap some of our cadence, we added cadence, and so we're taking off some resistance. And now we're hanging out here for another 3 minutes. After these 3 minutes are up, if you guys have been counting, we'll have another 4 minutes left in this first interval. And I'm gonna call that rider's choice. Whatever speed works best for you. I'll probably advise anywhere between 85 to 95 RPM. But if you're looking to get more strength training, you can take off speed and add more resistance. That'll focus on strength. Or if you want to build more cardio, you can have more speed and compensate with less resistance. Just kind of a choose your challenge moment here. For now, we're still sticking in our 95 RPM, keeping that steady. Once we get above 90, your body may feel, and you can even see it on your bike, want to slow down just a bit. So do your best to work and keep that effort up. Just less than a minute here to start to brainstorm what you might want to do for these last 4 minutes. And again, as you get into it, it does not have to be perfect, whether the first time or at all through this hour. So be gracious with yourself. Just work on sticking to this overall same effort, sticking in the sweet spot, and just choosing your pace. All right, last few seconds at 95 RPM. Okay, getting ready to switch in 5 seconds. Let's do it. I think I'm gonna go back down to 90 RPM and then add a gear back. And you can take a few seconds to get there, but try to make that transition somewhat smooth. And we'll be here for a total of 4 minutes. This is our last 4 minutes in our first round. After this, we'll have a 5-minute recovery where we'll go back down to an effort 1 or 2 out of 10, 0 to 59% of your FTP, total recovery mode. The only 2 things I'll ask of you once we get there, you try to stay in this loose range for FTP, 85 to 95 RPM, just to make sure your legs keep working, that we don't get too far from our efforts. And that at your baseline as well, you just keep your legs moving. I know recovery may sound like a great opportunity to let your legs stand still, but that is really gonna cool your body down pretty quickly. Your body's gonna say, great, I think we're done with this workout. We're not just yet. I have a few more rounds to get through. So if you can, keep your legs moving on the bike, even if it's at the easiest, and if you need to, the slowest pace that you need to go. Just keep them moving. But you guys are doing great here. Keep breathing as we're working on the bike. I know that sometimes we can start to feel a bit tense, and especially as we're continuing to push and work on the bike, that we can say, oh my gosh, okay, we're almost there, and kind of squeeze to push through. See if while your legs are moving, you can still take deep breaths through your diaphragm, through your core. See if we can keep our heart rate under control. We're looking for long, smooth, continuous efforts here. Just under that zone 4 lactate threshold. We're getting close to that 90-second mark, so keep it going. Be sure to check in with your cadence every once in a while. If you slow down a bunch, just gradually add those RPMs back. And if for some reason you're sprinting right now, bring it down a little bit. If you've already found your gear, cadence will be the only variable that you need to shift or recorrect at this time. Less than a minute here. Keep it going. At this point, I am fully sweating. I don't know if you can see it, but you might be feeling the same, and that is totally fine. If anything, it's expected for an indoor ride like this one. Now we're just gonna hold on this for another 30 seconds, then we'll be able to recover. You're almost there. Don't lose your speed just yet. 10 more seconds, come on. In 3, 2, 1, go ahead. Take off a gear or 2 or 3. Do keep your legs moving around. This is a great time to get out of racing position. If you like, even sit up straight for a bit. Grab your water towel off. And we're gonna use these 5 minutes to fully reset before our next round. As we're working on our recovery here, I'll go over our second round for our next sweet spot interval. It's gonna look the exact same as far as the zones we want to be in. We wanna be right in between that zone 3 and zone 4, hitting that nice 4 to 5 out of 10 effort. And every few minutes, I'm gonna have us change our speed, just like we did in our first set. The only notable difference that we'll have in the second round is thinking about smooth pedaling. So our first effort was really just looking to settle into the effort, figuring out what sweet spot felt like. Now we want to kind of hone it in just a little bit, tighten up our form, make sure we're maximizing the energy that we're putting through our pedals. So I'll give some guidance for that as we go along. But otherwise, I'm keeping the structure of the interval generally the same to give us that consistency, to have us revisit that effort at these given speeds or the speed to resistance ratio so that we can get that repeatable practice in. If we made every interval completely different, it might be kind of hard to replicate that in the future. But so doing more or less the same thing 3 times for a total of 30 minutes in this workout starts to build that muscle memory for us. So hopefully your breathing is feeling more relaxed at this point. Your legs are just getting to spin around the pedals, nice and easy. If you feel a little bit of support underneath your feet, that's totally fine. Again, the only ask I have of you is to keep your legs moving. That's important for us to kind of remain in the zone, the workout zone for this workout. And we have just a little over 2 minutes left here. So at this point, physically you might be feeling pretty good, which is great. Now we're just kind of switching into that mental preparation. Okay, even in this recovery period, how are my legs feeling around the pedals? Are there any physical adjustments I need to make? Am I ready to focus in on form and pedal stroke optimization for this next round? One thing I'll add here about doing these longer 10-minute intervals for a workout like this one is not only does it kind of help us narrow in what is our sweet spot, can we hold that for an extended period of time, it does also build that endurance. Because again, sweet spots aren't easy. They do feel like work. And so building that endurance without needing to hold it for a full hour, that starts to build that kind of long-term endurance. Can you hold this higher effort for a longer period of time? As you keep training, that will help to build your stamina and the power that you can put out on the bike. We're just about 30 seconds out now. I'll let you have these next few seconds to yourself just to mentally reset. I'll cue us a few seconds out from our next rep, and then we'll go from there. All right, we're getting pretty close. Let's go ahead, if you're ready, find 90 RPM. You can start from this easy effort. And then once you're there, add the gears that you need to get to that nice sweet spot zone. Play around with it as much as you need to. But a clue in for you, if you don't have a display on a bike computer that tells you what zone you're in at any specific time, if you even have a power meter or something that shows the watts in your bike computer, you can measure our efforts by looking at that number and seeing if we come back there over and over throughout these 3 intervals. And even as we change our RPM, as we change our cadence, we'll add speed, take away resistance. Can we still stay around that same number? That'll tell you that we're sticking to the same zone as we go along. So take this first minute or so, solidify that speed, 90 RPM. See if you can find those numbers from last time. And additionally, I know that there are lots of spin bikes out there that don't have a power meter, and that's totally fine too. They should have some sort of cadence reader so you can see and hold a specific cadence. And then from there, it just comes down to listening to your body. Okay, does this feel pretty much halfway between easy to hard? And can I get just below that midway point so that I feel like I could hold this for more than an hour if I stuck to this the whole time? And you may not get it perfect the first time around. Nobody would, especially in the early days of riding a bike. So the reason why we do these trainings is to build that practice, build that understanding of our body and what it can do. And so maybe the next time we come around to this type of workout or any other cycling workout, we'll get closer and closer to be able to identify our zones, get there, and stay there. I'd say that's the really fun part about cycling, is that no 2 rides are really gonna be the same. Each ride will feel different, whether it's you're getting stronger from ride to ride, maybe you've taken a break, so you're kind of resetting, trying to figure out once again, okay, what do these efforts feel like for me? Or even as a new rider, you know, hopping on the bike one time to the next, even hopping on different bikes can feel totally different. It's kind of fun. All right, it's already time for us to add some speed. So go ahead, get your cadence up to 95 RPM. Adding that little bit of speed, you'll feel your pedals just a little bit heavier. Your body wants to start working more. So in exchange, we take off a gear. No matter where you end up, just hold on to that higher cadence. And it'll be here for the next 3 minutes. But all right, we're starting to feel this effort build back up now, and we're thinking about pedaling smooth. So I prepped us for this in the warm-up, but we weren't at our full speed or full resistance just yet. So see if you can put into practice what we called up in our warm-up and execute it here. So legs starting at the top of our circle, moving forward, feeling that kind of expected push through your quads. And sometimes I like to just kind of grab onto them, see if I can feel my quads engaging as they push down. You don't have to do that, but I like to use it as a little check-in. Okay, are my legs working? Are they engaged? Your legs start to come around at the bottom of the pedal stroke, and they're scooping nice at the bottom of that pedal. You don't have to force your legs all the way into the ground. That'll waste energy too. But just letting the pedals guide your feet around that smooth kind of front part of that circle there. And ultimately your feet feel that guidance. It's like they can't go down anymore because the pedal is guiding them around. And even as we go through the very bottom of the pedal stroke, feeling that support from the pedal all the way through those kind of few degrees right at the bottom, that little arch. There's never a time where our foot has kind of come off our shoe and our shoe's just moving. Our foot, shoe, and pedal are all moving together as one piece. So we're feeling that as we go around. And then on the back side of our pedal stroke, feeling those pedals start to guide our feet back up. And then adjusting some of our muscles to help pull those pedals back up, around and through. You have all those pieces put together in about 10 seconds. You're gonna get to choose your own speed. So go ahead, let's find that new speed, whatever it is. It can be the same where we are now. It can be 95 RPM. You can go back to 90. You can go up to 100 if you really like to. But my recommendation is to stay somewhere in this zone. Make whatever adjustments you need. Add gear if you took off some speed. Take off gear if you added speed. You guys might have the picture at this point of that kind of inverse relationship. So holding on to whatever this is for the next 3 minutes and change, and then we'll have another recovery. It feels good to have a recovery to look forward to. And I am slowly making my compartment bag wet as I'm sweating into it. So hopefully for you as well, this feels like work that you're doing. If at any time throughout this workout, you're like, man, I totally missed the mark on what I thought my perceived effort was or what I even thought my zones were, that's totally fine. If and when you realize that, start to make little adjustments. If you're like, this was way too easy, I could probably go all day at this effort, then just slowly add a gear or two until you feel some of the effort start to come in, then readjust. And vice versa. If we're going along and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to just keel over on the bike right now. I went out way too hard or way too fast. That's okay too. If you need to take a quick break, definitely do that. Grab some water, reset, and then come back down. Either take a few gears off, choose a slower pace, whatever you need to do. And we can always adjust. Like I was saying earlier, that is the fun part about getting on the bike. Because every ride might look different. You could be riding for years, then get on a different bike and say, oh my gosh, this does not feel like what I'm used to. I'll have to take a session or two to get used to this. And even if you make it all the way through a workout and say, I don't know if I really got my zones right on that one. That's totally fine. You still did a workout today, you got on the bike, and that in and of itself is a good accomplishment. You guys did good work today. And the great news is we still have more to go. One more sweet spot interval after this one, and then we'll be done. But for now, keep holding this effort wherever you're at. Hopefully it's your sweet spot effort, but whatever cadence and resistance combination you're at, hold that steady for another 50 seconds. With these last few seconds here, thinking about that smooth, steady pedal stroke around the pedals. Your legs feel engaged. Your core remains engaged, but it's not the one actively doing the work, nor is any part of your upper body really. Your arms are purely here to help support your upper body. They're not gripping tight or doing any of that work for you. And you just have 10 seconds here, so keep it going. 3, 2, 1. Slow your legs down just a bit. Take off a gear or two if you like. Push away from your bike for a few seconds, a few minutes, whatever you need. And use this time for yourself to reset. All right, your legs are feeling a lighter load here. We're doing overall less work than we are in our active intervals. We're just keeping those legs moving to flush some of that effort out, to reset and recover before our last sweet spot interval. And when this last set comes around, you guys are used to it at this point. It'll look the exact same as the first two, 90 RPM, 95, and then rider's choice. And overall, sticking in that sweet spot zone, whether you found it from the start and have been there, or you discovered it along the way, whatever that effort is for you. And with this last set, we're kind of getting into this like 75% mark of our workout. And something about being 3/4 of the way through a workout is mentally challenging, whether you're doing a 1-hour ride or a 10-hour ride. Those first 3/4 of your workout can feel pretty good. You can say, all right, I'm halfway there, I have to go, we got it. But then you get to the 75% mark, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have more to do. And so regardless of your physical abilities, I'm certain that you guys can get through this workout without much issue. It's going to be that mental fight for us to keep up that good work for these last 10 minutes. That's how I'll work on guiding us through some of these last few minutes here, making sure we're remaining strong through the rest of this workout. And then finishing our very last set for today. For now, you have another 2.5 minutes just to recover, catch your breath, slow down the rate of which you're sweating, which is what I would love to do right now. So that by the time we get to this last set, we're feeling pretty good, ready to go. Our legs are ready to work once again. I feel like I really should put a towel here on top of my handlebars, but the one that I found was bright green. Not really sure it was color coordinated for today, so I'll have to seek out a white one or something. The last thing I'll add is that for the most part, given the speeds that we're going and the efforts that we're hitting today, a lot of our workout will be seated. I won't be cueing us for a standing interval, but we have the time right now if you want to add a few gears for extra support and then stand up out of your bike for a few seconds, definitely feel free to do that. And then during the interval, if you're like, man, I just would love to stretch my legs for a few seconds, just do the same, add some extra gears for support, stand up, and then once you're seated again, come back to that same zone, find the same watts that you were using before, or just feel it out. Once you establish your speed, find the gears again. That will help kind of recenter you in this sweet spot zone. We're just over 30 seconds out from our last interval. So preparing to pick up our speed in just a few seconds. Add the gears needed, and then we'll be off. All right, 5 seconds out. Let's go ahead, Pick up our pace just a bit. Get up to 90 RPM, and we've started our last set. Add the extra gears that you need to add, and don't let your cadence fall. The great thing about 90 RPM, kind of the areas around it, is that this is a great optimized speed for a lot of cyclists. It finds that sweet spot between power and speed, or essentially strength and cardio. So find this nice middle ground that tends to use the best of both efforts. So I'll do a lot of workouts here, and you'll probably find and feel that middle ground with your heart working a little bit harder, breathing with a little bit of intentionality, and your legs are certainly working as well. But so as we're coming back up into our effort here, feeling some of those changes in our body, and still keeping things under control, as we may start to feel just a bit fatigued as we go along, doing our best to keep everything under control, not letting our breathing get too rapid, keeping relatively deep and intentional breaths here, not letting them get too shallow or feel like we're huffing and puffing to get air in, because that won't last very long. I like to say that air is the fastest form of recovery that you'll have, especially on the bike, because once you tire your legs out, your legs will probably take a day or two to fully recover, but your breathing can come to complete recovery in just a few seconds or a few minutes. So if we keep that under control, that will do a lot to help us through any given workout. So that's why during those 5-minute recoveries, I have us slow down just a little bit to help us reset our breathing. I don't expect that our legs will feel fresh again in those 5 minutes, but I do hope that our breathing comes back to a reasonable pace, reasonable cadence. And so at least for our cardio system, we're ready to start again. Just a few seconds left at this first speed here, and you guys are doing awesome. First 3 minutes have flown by. Getting ready to add just a little bit more speed, make the gear adjustments needed, and we'll get into the next 3 minutes. All right, let's bring our legs up to 95 RPM, feeling that extra push through our body, and then compensating with our gear. Taking a few seconds here to find where that is on your bike. And then once we're with it, just sticking it. I know that each person's different and what helps them out the most. I know some people on runs, races, rides, what have you, love a good cheerleader. They love hearing, way to go, you got it, you're almost there, even if they're halfway through. And that's great. It's equally great if you're someone who's like, don't talk to me, I need to focus, I need to hone in. It's usually someone like myself. Or if you need to do math in your head, to say, okay, we're 4 minutes in here, 6 minutes to go. That's really just 2 sets of 3 minutes left. I've seen it all, and I've been there. So whatever works for you. I may leave you alone here for the next minute and a half or so to hold on to the steady 95 RPM. Don't let it go anywhere. And then I'll check back in before our last 4-minute push. All right, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're able to keep all that in one place, both with your body control as well as the cadence that you're holding. Go ahead, choose that last speed that you're gonna hold for these 4 minutes, and let's get into it. I'm gonna slow my legs back down just a touch, play with my gears just a little bit. And I'll be holding it here for the last 4 minutes. Now you choose whatever you want to do, however you want to end this workout. Because after this, we just have a 5-minute cool down. So we'll be done with our work after these last few minutes. At this point, we have more minutes in our cool down than we do left in our workout, if that helps you. But otherwise, keep that breathing nice and smooth. Check in with your body. Feel anything get tensed up over these last few minutes. Go ahead, shake your shoulders out just a little bit. Keep them away from your ears. Neck is nice and long. You may want to keep your eyes up relatively often, because when you're on the bike, people don't really bike not looking in front of them. So keep your head up, just not totally turtlenecked into your shoulders, but keeping those arms and those hands nice and still. If you can either tell or if you have a mirror next to you and you can feel your body swaying back and forth trying to push those pedals around, see if you can keep it nice and centered. Then just let your legs push for these last 2 minutes and change. I know you guys have done way more difficult things for longer than 2 minutes at a time. So just find some deep breaths. Let those get you through the last little bits of this work here. And these rides are all about consistency. You may find if you ride outdoors or do rallies or races or anything, you want to finish strong with like a sprint. And that's great. I'd love for you to train for that outside or on another ride. But for these efforts specifically, I would love for us to focus on smooth and consistent all the way towards the end. What that means is we're not saving anything up or holding back to then push at the very end. This means that we are marking ourselves for an hour workout. That's how long this video is. But trying to see if we can equally spread our efforts across all the intervals that we're doing today. So keeping all that in mind, holding this for one more solid minute, and then we'll take it down. Our cool down will basically feel exactly like our warm-up. Light effort, light gear, relatively free spin with our legs. Seeing if we can keep it between 70 to 80 RPM, but ultimately what'll work best for you. And just giving our body a more gradual descent into a full recovery, non-work kind of period. Because if we just hopped from here off the bike, you might be feeling kind of funny, either later today or tomorrow. So these cool down minutes are relatively precious. They're pretty important. Just about 10 seconds here. Keep it smooth, keep it going. Check on your cadence one last time. One more deep breath to get us to the end. And slow our legs down. Take off an extra gear or two. I just suggest to make it feel like 1 or 2 out of 10. Getting to a very, very easy cycling zone by keeping just enough cadence on that your body doesn't feel you stop just yet. So take a few seconds to breathe. After our first 2 sweet spots, we had an actual recovery to come down to. So from here, we're right into our cool down. So I totally expect these first few seconds here, you just kind of reset your breathing, mop up any sweat that's fallen onto your bike. And getting some water as well. If you neglected to drink water during the majority of today's ride, definitely start drinking some water. Rehydrate through the rest of today and tomorrow as well. Sometimes it's hard for us to notice how much sweat we actually lose during workouts like these. So I'll encourage you to eat some protein, maybe even get some electrolytes in, but do a proper recovery with stretches and everything else. I'll make a few suggestions for stretches that you can do on the bike as we're cooling down, but I always recommend that if you have the time, if you have the space, do a few extra stretches at home in your own time. That way you're not feeling too sore tomorrow. But you guys did great work today. Made it through 3 really good intentional sets of sweet spot intervals. And that's going to help you increase your baseline fitness, increase your FTP, or the power that you can hold for an hour, and just also increase your overall stamina on the bike, how long you can sit down on the bike and do work, and all that without even touching zone 4. So really maximizing the time that we have, the effort that we put into the bike to build our overall fitness. So we're in our last few minutes here. If you're feeling good, you may want to push up out of your bike just to kind of lengthen your back. If you were over on your handlebars the entire time, you may feel lots of different things as you start to sit up. If you have the space, you can maybe open your arms out and wide, getting that stretch across your chest and squeezing your shoulder blades together as well to get some of that tension out. If you like, you can also do a half twist on the bike if you have anything for support to gently encourage that spine just to loosen up a little bit. And then it is important as well to take some time, stretch across your body and over your head for your triceps. I did say that your upper body is really only there to support you, but even staying here for an hour, it can feel like a lot, especially if you're not used to extended periods of time on the bike. I'm doing these stretches relatively gently just to not knock the microphone, but get into these stretches as deeply as you can or as you're able on any given day. There are lots of good stretches that you can do off the bike for your quads, for your hamstrings. Quads is grabbing your ankle, pulling it up to your backside. That'll give a long stretch to those muscles in the front of your legs. And then if you step on anything on the ground that's kind of elevated, you can get a good stretch for your quads. And then leaning forward, doing something that hinges at your waist while keeping your legs straight are great stretches for your hamstrings. So paying lots of good attention to your legs and your lower body and giving that a good, well-deserved stretch. But hopefully your breathing has come down to a really good level. Your heart rate is under control. And we're just taking the last 30 seconds here to cycle out before we're done. From here, you can either hop in to another session if you find another workout that you want to stack on top of this one, or you can call it a day. But either way, you guys have done awesome work today. Great work on these sweet spot intervals. And until next time, I hope you guys have an awesome day. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for riding with me today. If you liked today's video, feel free to give it a thumbs up or save it to a collection for next time. If you want to see more of these, subscribe and get alerted to new videos. And if there are any workouts that you'd like to see, feel free to comment them down below. Hope you guys had a great ride, and I'll see you next time.